Huh? No, the proper cameras will be installed so it will be able to capture everything. And I will not know when they are recording and when they are recording. As the control. But while they are waiting for the cameras to come to our guy, we are using this temporary thing. It's for actually to benefit the online students and all the now also because we would mapanga Zoom, special Zooms for them in practice. Now we started last time about the forms of companies, what type of legal status of various companies. So to quickly go through that so that Mukama Karikama assignment you will be able to have some guidance for me. Now there are several types of forms of companies, of businesses, of corporations. The most common one is what we call sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship. So the first one and the most common one is sole proprietorship. What is this company we're talking about? This sole proprietorship basically means it's a company that is owned. See, the issues that we were talking about, ownership, control. So, ownership of a proprietorship company, a sole proprietorship company, is one person. It's owned by one person. Sometimes it can be a group, it can be a family, but the idea is that it's owned by one person. And is controlled or run by one person. It's owned and controlled by one person. That's the definition. And usually these are very small companies. So ownership, control, one person. Small. And very few, if any, employees. Very few, if any, employees. So those are the major characteristics of sole ownership companies. Now, we need to be very clear. This company is not what sometimes you see in our communities. This is a company which is registered as such with the registrar of companies. This has to be a registered entity. It has to be recognized as a company, a sole ownership company. So sometimes we may be thinking, oh, maybe if I run a company which is a tailoring company at my compound, then it qualifies to be a sole proprietorship. It doesn't if it's not registered.
What's that?
That is just an informal arrangement you have. Informal companies like that, for example, somebody buys welding machines and sets up on the side of the road. He starts making window frames, and starts selling. And he says, I have a company. Nimapanga ma window, nimapanga ma door frames. And this person, of course, maybe it's him and maybe his young brother or his sister. They are running that thing. The guy is the sole owner. He runs that company himself. Okay? But it's not in anybody's books. There's no certificate that he runs that business. Okay? Kumarawi Kunogo is very common, you know it. A lot of people do not even have a license. If you find somebody in the garage, it's his own garage, he has some maybe 3-4 workers, and that garage is, if you go and check with the register of companies, it's not registered anywhere. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about a company that is actually registered as such. You go to the register of companies and say, ndifuna kusegura garage, isina ragi, ndirafutura kuti, akufusani kuri, who are the owners and you know again. You pay, you get the license to operate. That is what we're talking about. So don't be confused with these backyard businesses that we set up. They may look like sole ownership companies, but they are not officially sole ownership companies. We're not talking about informal. So these types of companies are very common in the world. There are many, very common in any country. Why? Why are they so common? Everywhere you go, whether you go to America or UK or Japan or wherever. Why are they so very common, do you think?
They're easy to run.
They are very easy to set up. Very easy.
Yes.
Yeah, so the advantages are that they are very easy to set up. Maybe they need very little capital. The capital, how do you think they find the money? How do they raise finance? Usually it's either the guy saved some money, or maybe he retired and got some cash out, or maybe a relative helped with the money, and so on and so forth. They are just individuals. Now, when we want to talk about advantages of these companies, what else apart from easy to operate? The other advantage is that you are your own boss. You decide, and my decisions can be made faster. Because it's just you, no consultation with anybody else. You decide when to open, when to close. You make a lot of decisions yourself. So decisions are made very fast. You don't have to refer to anybody. You don't have to consult people. Sometimes family members can help you run the business. So you may have a son or a daughter, and you say, you went to school, can you do the bookkeeping or whatever? Things like that. If any employees are involved. The disadvantages are many. And I'm encouraging you to go and read about the advantages and disadvantages of these companies. One very clear one is that it depends on the health and life of the owner. When he seeks the business has problems because he cannot operate. He's not feeling well.
As you say, like your ages can help you to handle the business, right?
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, so when you are sick, they can help you.
No, you are the, you know what happens? You are the one who signs at the bank. But transactions all say it's you who is running that show. You are the accountant, you are the business manager.
Why if we are good, it's good, this is running with Nigeria too.
Sorry?
So this is running with Nigeria too.
Because because this is a small company, so maybe it's possible. Yeah. Some sole ownership a lot of sole owned companies have flourished. It depends on the owner. Some grow big and they can graduate to become a limited company. So the other thing is that they have unlimited liability. Unlimited liability means that your liability is not curtailed. So if you have a debt, if you borrow the money from somebody, or if suppliers give you materials and you are failing to pay, the liability is not limited to the business. So people cannot just come to your shop, for example, to your garage and say, okay, we are taking all this equipment to recover our money. They can even go to your house and take your bag. For them to recover their money. They can go to your house and take your car. They can go to your house and say, we are taking this house. So it's not limited to the business. Your liability, your requirement to pay these debts that you have is not limited to
The business, right?
no, it's unlimited. So it means it can even go to your house, whatever you have, and usually it can either cause you to declare bankruptcy, meaning that you have failed because people have gone to your business, they have taken everything from your shop, but it's not enough for them to recover their money. They go to your home, they take your house, they take your beds, they take your sofas, whatever you have there, whether it's a cooker, whatever, fridge, they take, you still can't finish the loan.
And they take the children.
No. Okay? So the liability extends beyond your business. So now we will see later on why this is sometimes a problem. And also why a lot of people will not be able to lend you money. Go to the bank, for example, to raise capital, for other people to come and invest in your business, to join you. It depends on how you are performing. If you are performing well and cultivate trust or funders or sponsors, maybe you can. But it's easier when your company is not in that form. So there are more disadvantages of solely owned companies than advantages, so to speak. Okay, so that's one type. The second type is what we call the partnership. So as the word says, it means more than one person are partnering. More than one person have come together to say, let's do business. More than one. Now, partnerships can be in two forms. You can choose to have partnership which is owned by you guys and run by you. Whether you are 2 people, you own that company and you run it. You manage it yourselves. So if you do that, if you own and run it yourself, it has the status of unlimited liability company. It means 2 of you will be liable for any debts that the company has. So they will come not only to recover the money from the business, but even from your homes, from you as 2 people who own that company.
So you say it's what?
It's an unlimited partnership company. Unlimited liability, not just unlimited liability company. You can also choose to have a partnership which has limited liability. I hope you understand when we say unlimited and limited, right? We are together. When we say unlimited, it means the liabilities are not just limited to the company. If the company can't pay, it's the company which just declares liquidation, it closes. Those you owe money, they can salvage whatever from what they can get from the company itself. So your liability is only limited to the money that you have invested, if you are a limited partnership. If you are not, if you are unlimited, it goes to your personal weight as well to recover what the company owns. Now, the good news now is that you are more than 1 person, so you can share ideas. The advantage is that now you have a partner. If you have, the partners you can pull in your skills and experiences and expertise to run that company. So the company will benefit from the skills and expertise of these partners. How much better than just being 1 person owning and running that company. Now you have 2 heads or 3 heads putting ideas together. So that's a good advantage. Some of the disadvantages are now that decisions will be delayed. You have to consult. That's one disadvantage from sole ownership. Now that there are 2 people, 3 people owning that business, 1 person cannot just make a decision without consulting the other. Now, so partnership can either be unlimited liability, or you can choose to have a limited partnership company, limited liability. If you choose to be a limited liability company, because it's a partnership, you can still be involved in managing it. You can still be the manager, you can still be the general manager. So you can still own and manage the company, run the company. In partnerships, it's not as strict as in other forms of companies, where the owners do not directly run the company. In partnerships, you are allowed, you can still be part of management of the company. But the requirements are more, because now you have to make sure you have books of accounts, audited, sunshine. You can have even some directors. You can appoint some directors to help you run the company, give directions for the company, just like any other limited liability company does. Okay? Now, number 3. Those books that I have shared with you, they have a lot of information on these companies, so you can read more the forms that it takes. Mind you should also be aware that the laws governing the setting up of companies are not the same all over. So Malawi might have a different way of registering and the requirements that are needed than, for example, the US or British or South Africa. But there are some common, what we're discussing here are the common things that all over the world are understood to be how these companies are formed or what kind of nature they become. So number 3 is limited companies. So some companies will, even in the name, they will try to emphasize that point. They will say whatever company limited, Kasu Malawi Limited, or Chibuku Malawi Limited, whatever, I don't know, this is just examples. So some people will even make sure they put that word limited in there. Some don't. But in their legal papers, they are. Now, these limited companies are, by nature, when you register this company, you have to declare to the registrar of companies who are the shareholders. It could be like those partners there, it could be family members, it could be whatever. But you have to declare. Maybe we have 10 shareholders, and this is the way they are divided, for example. So this company has shareholder A having so much share in this company. Shareholder B has this share in the company. Shareholder C, like that. So you have to declare the value of your company. What's the total shares you have? So maybe your capital for starting that company is, let's say, for example, 50 million kwacha. That's the capital. That's what people have that's what you think this company will be worth. So the shareholders will start, you declare how much of each belongs to who has contributed what. Sometimes you may say the value of this company will be 50 million, and yet what people have paid so far is maybe only 30 million. The others is waiting for others to pay. And you have started. Or it can be all paid up shares. So that you have to declare. For a limited company, you have to declare the number of shareholders. If the shareholdership changes, if you want to increase the value of the company, to say now the share capital has increased, you have to inform within 15 days in some countries. Some countries 10 days, it depends. You have to inform the register of companies how the share capital has changed. So you can say, okay, 50 million is worth 50,000 shares. Each share is 1,000 kwacha. That's how they do it. So 50,000 shares, somebody will say, this one has 10,000, that one has 5,000, like that, to make up that 50,000 shares. And each value of each share is 1,000 kwacha. Now, as you know, when the company makes more profit, accumulates more assets, the value of that share becomes more and more. So that's why you find sometimes you find this record saying, okay, the share price is now 1,500. It used to be 2 years ago it was 1,000. Now it's 1,500, like that, depending on the value that of that company, depending on how much weight they have accumulated over the years. So now you will see later on when we discuss the issue about control and ownership. Now we'll be talking of the interest of the shareholder, the one who holds the shares, and the one who runs the company. What are the interests of shareholders? Because in this, when you have a limited company like this, you also, the owners do not run the company. You appoint directors, board of directors. The owners, they will appoint board of directors. Usually the owners do not sit in the board, but you are representatives, the ones you appoint. So the voting depends. The voting comes in when you have a general annual general meeting of the company, for example. That's when maybe the shareholders, if they want, they can attend in person or they can appoint people. But the other where they have some say in the company is through the board of directors that they appoint. So the company might have, for example, in their articles of memorandum or memorandum of understanding, because when you first meet as shareholders, the records that you come out, the minutes will be part of the registration process. The minutes will say what you agreed. We agreed to form this company. We agreed that the share capital will be so much. We agreed that there will be so many shareholders, blah, blah, blah. All that you agreed forms the basis for registering that company. So Maramulo were also indicated in that first meeting on how the company will be run. So you say, okay, you agree that you have 12 board of directors of the board, for example. Five.
Não passava.
So the appointment of board of directors, for example, if the first meeting of which decided on setting this company, came up with the idea that the board would be composed of 12, for example. The way these board members are appointed is also through the proportion of shares that each person has. So if, for example, one shareholder has 20%, it means that person will also appoint 20% of the board. We nominate. So and so will represent me in the board. Or these 4 people, for example. So if, for example, if somebody has owns 50% of the shares of the company, so he will also appoint the number which is equivalent to 50% in the board. So if it was 12, it means you will nominate 6 people to sit in the board. So that way, the shareholder has a say, because the board is the one which provides the policy guideline, the policy, the strategy for the company. Then the management, who is the general manager or managing director or whatever, those people will implement what the board has decided. As you know, how companies are run. That's why here, you also, for example, here government has appointed board of directors for ADMA, board of directors for ESCOM. It's because these companies are shareholder is government. 100%.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are the owners involved in decision making?
Not direct. Through the board. Yes.
But they say they have, they choose a board, let's say the business is not performing so they have something to say about the business. So they pass through the board, or how does it go?
Oh.
Like the owners.
Yeah, the owners, you appoint people who will sit in the board. So definitely, those people you have appointed will be looking to take care of your interests. Yeah, you have appointed them to sit on that board. Because mind you, if they don't serve your interests, you can remove them. After 3 years, for example, it depends on the life of each board session. If the board exists for 3 years, some people can be reappointed. Some company regulations might say board members can only be board members for a maximum of 2 terms, or a maximum of 3 terms, for example. That is up to.
Is it just the same as the way the president selects the cabinet? Just to assume how?
No, it's not the same. These are companies. You know the objectives of companies.
Yes.
We will learn more, but the objectives of companies is to make money, to make profit. Okay? Sometimes, some people say it's not always true, that all companies are always just to make profit. Some companies are just want to, one of the aim must be just to grow big.
What?
To grow big. To be a big company. Yeah. So, for example, you have seen that some people, they will choose not to take the dividend, the interest that they get from when a company makes profit. We will learn more as we go towards financing. One way is you say, okay, the profit should be reinvested because you want the company to grow, to expand more factories, for example, to build more factories or to expand the business. So instead of taking that profit, you as a shareholder to go and eat it, you may decide that that profit should go back into expanding the company. So in that sense, the ultimate goal has not moved from just making profit, but for making sure you have a business empire. I mean, it's just like human beings. It's not everybody who believes that I've made money, I just want to buy a nice car. Some people do not think like that when they have made money, they can just go and enjoy it. Okay? Some people think, oh no, I've made money, okay, I want to grow big. So they expand the business instead of enjoying that money. I mean, we have seen that in just individuals. That's why some people have grown big. There are companies which are even can go international because their aim has been to grow big. But businesses in general, we can all agree here, every business does not want to run on the loss, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But some people will dispute that the sole aim is just to make money. But some businesses are not geared for just that. So, for example, it's just like what we learn in marketing. Is anybody doing marketing? Yeah. So what we learn in marketing? No, you have this what we call the sales concept and marketing concept. They are different. Selling and marketing is not the same. Yes. Huh? No, we are not in the marketing class, but they are not the same. Selling is about no. Marketing is about satisfying customer needs. Selling is about sales volume. So in a company, you have a marketing department and the sales department.
Yeah.
Okay? So if they were the same, you would not have a sales department and then a marketing department. It's not a class for marketing or entrepreneurship. If you want that, let's agree to have a market an entrepreneurship course in some other semester, and I will be glad to take it up. Okay, so limited companies, these are not companies, don't confuse, are not companies where you can go and say, ndifuna ndikakuwe kumashia. Then, I just said that if you want to expand the shareholders, you have to inform the register of companies. Because whatever you have declared is how the company should be running. Okay? Yeah. So that's where the difference comes in with what we call corporations. Corporates.
How do you look on the advantages and disadvantages?
Limited,
yes.
One very good advantage is that when the company has the debt and the company can't pay, you as shareholders are safe. Nobody will come to your house and take your car. Whatever you have invested, you remember the example I gave you? that this company share capital is 50 million. That's what has been declared to be the value of the company. And you have paid maybe 20 million in that to set up that company. What you can lose is only that 20 million. The company gets bust and the debtors come to recover their money, they will not go to your house. You will only lose that weight. Because somebody will take it up, will take that company away from you. So that's a big advantage. And the second advantage is that you can go to the bank, borrow money as a company. You don't have to give collateral of your house. Unlike these two, if they want a loan from the bank, they have to use their own properties. So ownership and partnership, they have to use their own properties. Apart from using the property of the company. If it's not enough to get a loan, they want a huge loan, they will even happy research in the manyumba home. Because they want the company to get this big loan from the bank. Here, you don't. So here, one other advantage is that the owners and those who are running the company are not the same. Whereas the first two, they are. So you see in your assignment what your assignment is in two parts. Talk about the nature, how these companies are, but also talk about how the ownership and control is handled. And if there are any conflicts, how are those conflicts handled? The books will also tell you more about how the owners are able to have a say in these companies. So at least they are protected, their interests are protected that way. We have just talked about disappointment of board members, which is according to your share. The more shares you have, the more you can appoint more people. Okay? Because the moment you have got more shares, it means when that company goes bust, you are the one who will lose more. If somebody only contributed 5 million and you contributed 30 million, the loss there will be different. So therefore you have, the one who has 30 million has to have more say in the direction which the company should take. Right? Yeah, makes sense. But it's very indirect. You don't sit in the table every day in that manager's office. No, they don't. They are at home, they are doing they might be professionals in other fields, but they own part of that company. Now, corporation. So there are many more advantages than disadvantages of limited companies, but the advantages are more than the disadvantages. And I give you now. Okay? Now you have the corporates. And the reason we also discuss the others is because they are also businesses. Corporates are also businesses. A corporate is more serious in the sense that it's expensive to set it up. It's a long process, unlike the other companies. It's more complicated to set up. You need a lot of resources to set it up. the good thing about a corporation is takes up a legal, it's like a citizen. It has got rights and obligations. It can sue, it can be sued.
I read somewhere, so I'm remembering what you said, that it has rights and obligations whereby it can get sued for.
Yeah.
So I read somewhere saying artificial intelligence.
Yeah. So it's a corporate is serious. It's setting it up. Of course, it's similar in the sense that you have to indicate the value, how to raise money, and blah blah blah. It's a legal entity, so to speak, right?
What are the examples?
Examples of corporations.
What do you about your
Sorry?
What do you about your
Pesco.
Isco? No. No, not Isco.
This comes limited.
I think so. No, not Escom, no.
Manama Corporation.
So, one thing is that it's legally defined. Okay? It's like a person. It's a legal entity. And it's completely separate from the owners. And usually it doesn't have a single owner. There's no, you cannot even say, you remember when we were talking about limited companies, that you have to declare, you have to indicate who owns when you are registering it. And how much they own. If that changes, if you want more people to come in, if you have invited more people to join you, to have shares in that limited company, you need to indicate to the registrar of companies. And usually within 15 days, in some countries like in the US, within 15 days, you need to tell them that this company, it had 100 shareholders. Now we have increased it to 120. So these 20 more people have joined. The registrar of companies or the government needs to know what has happened to the ownership structure in that company. This one, no. The corporation, no. You don't indicate who owns. You only declare what kind of shares you have. And people start buying. Of course, having said that, I'm not saying that limited companies cannot go public. They can't. Limited companies can also open up and allow any human jack go and buy and sell shares. And that is what we call listing, going on the stock market. It's part of corporate financing. Raise money. But there are requirements that you have to do. Things like that you have had annual general meetings, you have had audited accounts, which you submit to, for example, Malawi Stock Exchange, the companies that are registered there. The process of registering your company in a stock exchange has requirements. Some who want to list there have been turned down. There are certain things that you need to meet for you to be listed. When we say listed, we mean having your company registered as a company that can issue shares, can sell shares to the general public. So even in this one, you can go that route. Corporations are different from the word go. Some of these can go from there to there, from limited companies and become corporations. That is also a possibility. But here we're talking of corporations which have been set up as corporations from the beginning. Remember, even partnerships can also move from there to here. And therefore, later on they can move from there to here. It's a possibility. So you find that sometimes family companies, some companies are family owned, but they end up being some years down the line, they end up being corporations. And sometimes they keep the name, and yet they are publicly listed. Every German Jack can buy shares. And yet they started as a family company. What are the examples? Maybe KFC. What's KFC? Yeah, KFC was a family. Can you buy shares of Woody Brothers? Huh? I don't think you can buy shares from Woody Brothers.
No, you don't.
No.
You can buy shares.
Change.
Sir, they want.
What do you mean when you say it's a legal entity? Corporations are legal entity.
Because they are legally defined.
What do you mean when you say that? Because all these, they are
Illegal. And legally bad.
because some leadership is saying it's something that you have to register. That means it's illegal to do that. It's legal to do that business since you have registered. So what makes it different to be legally defined?
Because it has legal powers.
It's got rights and obligations.
It has legal powers, just like people have. You are legally defined.
Okay, wait.
And
So you're saying the limited what? Companies, yeah, they don't have things.
The right.
The right that you can be sued or cannot be sued. Doesn't have the right or what's the difference?
the way corporations are defined legally, that is a serious matter. I think that's what we should be talking about. Remember how you form these, and then the way you form these, it's not the same way you form these. This is more serious.
How do you differentiate?
Okay, my point is.
As I want to try it, explaining my operation. My operation pumping operation nera nangira akile example yantu alinesoya ngati ndife group iyi iwe yanu